Attention visionaries and pioneers, the future of wealth is here, and it's spelled B-I-T-C-O-I-N, Bitcoin. Introducing the exclusive Loans for Bitcoin program at the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where your good credit unlocks 0% interest loans for up to 2 years, or term loans up to $250,000 spread over 7 to 12 years. Why wait? Use this capital to acquire the world's fastest appreciating asset, Bitcoin. With prices hovering around 94,000 and projections aiming much higher by the year's end, the time to act is now. Leverage isn't just for Wall Street anymore. Arbitrage the low cost of your loan against Bitcoin's explosive growth. It's smart finance for the modern investor. And privacy matters. Our no KYC Bitcoin purchase program ensures you buy and self-custody your assets in your own wallet. Your keys, your Bitcoin, your future. And as the world shifts to digital currencies, be ahead of the curve. Front-run corporations, governments, in this greatest financial revolution of our times. I'm Jay Bose, CEO of Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club. Call or text us today at 941-413-6920 and get started on that loan application. Secure your legacy. You will thank yourself tomorrow. $107,279 for one Bitcoin right now. Good morning, everyone. It's your favorite truck driver, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world, Bitcoin Ben. Live from, thank God, Florida. Good Lord, I've been traveling so much. What's crazy? I leave here today on another trip. So I'm always coming, going, and going, and coming, you know, typical guy. And it's what I've learned over the last 2 weeks is really amazing on the adoption level. And when I say adoption, it's not so much retail. I mean, retail is growing. Don't get me wrong. Retail is growing. It's just corporations are clamoring to get lined up so they can purchase friggin' Bitcoin. And not just purchase, leverage their shares against purchasing Bitcoin. Everyone is actually pulling or all wanting to do my originally. And when I say all folks, eventually over the next years, every corporation will offer about some reserve that, in fact, it's a point where if you don't, you're going to be left. Did you not know? It's Bitcoin, baby. It's 100% Bitcoin, and we're reaching a point. And before we jump into this, Jay, I want to give an overview of what's going on, not only in cryptos, but what is going on in our country. And there is a precedent for what is going on right now. And I've actually talked about it several times on my show. We are reliving
1917 through 1922. All right, for those of you, just hop on YouTube and look up how many times Trump actually mentions the year 1917. It's over, I think, 160 times in his last presidency alone that he mentioned 1917. And because if you know your history, 1917 was the Spanish flu. Google this shit. In 1917, the authorities required everyone to wear masks. The authorities were saying everyone was dying of the Spanish flu and that they had to lock the economy down. They had to do all these emergency preparations. Guess what happened in 1920? That's what we in America call the Red Scare. That's when, I think it was Coolidge or Hoover, who was president in 1920. Was it Coolidge?
I'll check.
Yeah, maybe not Coolidge. He was in there somewhere. But, and what they did was they rounded up all of the illegal immigrants that had moved to America prior to and during the epidemic of the 1917 Spanish flu epidemic.
It says Woodrow Wilson.
In,
1920.
Woodrow Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
No.
He was serving the final year of his second term, 1913 to 1921. However, in 1920, he was seriously incapacitated due to a stroke, and his wife, Edith Wilson, effectively managed. And then President-elect was Warren Harding.
Harding, yes, that's who I'm thinking about.
That's what you think.
Is Harding. They literally came out and they shipped out, I want to say, 300,000 communists out of America. They basically put them all on friggin' boats and said, get the hell out of here. Because they were doing exactly what's going on out in LA right now. Except it was up in New York, up in Chicago. They had a little out in California, but not much. And this is the progressive movement. This is the agenda of the left, is to destroy America. They're not here worrying about LGBTQUWZ+1 or whatever the fuck they call themselves now. They don't give a flying fuck about none of that. What they are trying to do is get rid of the Constitution because they cannot have a global government with America having a constitution. It's exactly what they have done in Australia. It's exactly what they have actually done in Germany. That's what World War I was over. And
again, 1917.
Yeah.
When America declared war on Germany.
Yeah, and it's we are reliving the past. This is the progressives' third try at getting rid of the Constitution. Well, Trump isn't having it. And it isn't just Trump. It isn't like he's this wild and crazy president who just happened to barely get elected. No, the American people are tired of this shit. Because you and I, Jay, when we were actually growing up, mind you, we had drama. We had relative drama, but it was not this every single day. Something else is an emergency.
Yes.
And I mean, it wasn't like that. Your life did not revolve around what a president said. You know, your life did not revolve around, guys, it's only recently, and when I say recently, within the last 8 to 10 years, that the head of the Federal Reserve had as a press conference. Right? You prior to 2017, they didn't have Federal Reserve press conferences.
No, they did not.
That is because they have to manage it. It's gotten so bad. We have devalued our currency so bad that now the head of the Federal Reserve has to come out and manage inflation expectations. It's like, oh, well, how do you do that? Well, we lie to people and we basically tell them everything's all right. Then we put out some numbers that don't fucking really mean shit in reality. And then they wonder why someone like Trump is elected. And not just he won the popular vote too. It's because the American people we see the bullshit. I don't know what kind of shit the left is smoking. If I hear someone in the press on the left call the LA riots mostly peaceful,
Summer of love?
Yeah. This is like the Arab Spring. I've heard that twice. Well, I don't know if you remember the Arab Spring, but there was one female reporter that was raped in the middle of a crowd during the Arab mostly peaceful uprising. Folks, this is house cleaning time. And I'm going to digress on the political thing, but I do want to say one more thing about the Spanish flu. It was all a hoax, folks. It was all a hoax. Most of the people who actually passed on from the Spanish flu, they actually died from aspirin overdose. Bet you didn't know that. Google it. Because when you overdose on aspirin, your lungs actually fill up with fluid. And it looks a lot like, like COVID and a respiratory issue and all that. Well, aspirin was relatively new at the time. And aspirin was 1917's version of the shot, except everyone just took pills. Yep. And most of the people who died, they died from aspirin overdose.
Which,
yes.
By the way, is true for this pandemic that we just passed. Most people died after the shot because their immune system was shot because of their myocarditis happening in the youngest of athletes and
yeah,
kids.
I mean, when have we ever seen so many athletes in tip-top shape just fall over dead? Yeah. They're running or they just hiked the ball. Next thing you know, they're flat on their back. Yeah. That shit doesn't happen. And I've heard so many newspaper people like that 27-year-old relatively healthy male, dies of natural causes.
Yeah, right.
Well, what the fuck is natural about a 27-year-old falling over dead? That requires a causation. All right.
Absolutely does. And this is truly a parallel situation going on right now. The big difference here is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If you look at what Europe is doing right now in terms of trying to clamp down on not allowing Bitcoin, there's a reason for that. They are actively trying to suppress freedom, because once you have financial freedom, folks, game over. Once
over.
the money belongs to we the people as opposed to the government, game over. Right? The tyranny cannot, this communism, the leftist movement right now here is frankly just a new face for communism. And it's very obvious.
Folks, whether you want to believe it or not, the left of today hates your country, hates America, hates freedom of speech. And if you're afraid of somebody talking and you are willing to silence someone from talking, the issue's you. The issue's not them. It's you. And the left values the system more than they value the people that the system was supposed to protect and serve.
Right. And what I'm finding also, Ben, is that when I talk to the leftist, the brainwashing is so complete that they will actually refuse to see facts. They will actually refuse to believe their own eyes. No different from what was predicted, that you will not believe your own eyes. You'll be told that XYZ is true and you will believe that instead of what you're seeing right in front of you. And we have come to that level.
Yeah.
Where you can show all the data, all the statistics, all the reality right in front of them. It almost has come to a level where there is no common ground as much as we try to find it. Because you cannot compromise the essence of what God has given us, which is our sovereign understanding of this world and the moral compass that exists within us. I don't need to read a book to know killing someone is wrong or raping a child is wrong. I don't need to be told by a set of laws. We know that as human beings. And yet, you see the rise of pedophilia. You see all of this stuff as being justified. Yeah, and that's not right. And we can't live in that world and say, oh, we're all the same. We just think of it different. No, we're not the same.
No, it's you cannot compromise with anyone who wants to infringe on your freedom, because then the only question is, what percentage of a slave are you? Are you 1% slave? Are you 8% slave? Are you 20% slave? Well, you are created by God 0% slave. And that's how you should live out your whole life. Amen. As a free individual. And I want to send out a very important idea and question for people. At our clubs, we now have clubs in Sarasota, Massachusetts. We have a club in Nashville. We have a club in Texas. We'll have a club in St. Louis. We have one out in Las Vegas. We're launching more and more clubs. We'll have our hotel in El Salvador. We recently purchased a bank in El Salvador. And guys, although I love me some Bitcoin, don't get me wrong. If it didn't lead to freedom, I would tell the Bitcoin to fuck off. Because if it isn't a tool for freedom, it's a tool for slavery. And we've reached a point, and that's what's going on out in California. And now they're trying to work on it in Houston. Good luck in Texas, motherfuckers. That's a different.
Could I underscore what you just said, folks? Bitcoin is about freedom. And Ben made here we are all Bitcoin maximalists, we're Bitcoin enthusiasts. At the same time, it's a technology. And if it doesn't lead to freedom, it ain't worth it.
Yep.
And what is really important here is that the clubs that we have created in these 5-6 places already, and we're going to expand very significantly across the country and across the globe.
Right by Mar-a-Lago, in fact.
So that's been planned out. But what I want you all to think of, these clubs are these points of light. This is the church of light, of freedom. These are the beacons of freedom. That's how we position, how we see ourselves at these clubs. These are not just clubs where you come and have a beer. Nope. These are clubs which are beacons of hope, beacons of light, and beacons of freedom. And as we plant these churches around the country, it is going to attract the everyday man and woman, the person on the street, the average Americans who have been betrayed by the system, the Federal Reserve, neither federal nor a reserve. And as we start to create financial wealth, financial independence, and financial security by owning the currency itself, for we the people, these beacons of light, we encourage you to come into the clubs, participate here, come and volunteer your time, come and engage in conversation with your fellow members. Make this the community where you can gather around for the most important cause of freedom.
Yeah, and I also, and for those of you who aren't religious, hang up the phone now. We are not just at war with other humans, right? This is a war for your soul. This is a war for all of our souls. This is a war for human freedom and human relationship with God. Because trust me, folks, as much as the left hates Trump, they hate God worse. And that's why even in my life, I see the devil poking his fingers into relationships around me, because we are weak. We are weak humans. We are weak men. We are weak women. And you have to understand that Satan will use your weakness as a weapon against anything that goes against him. We at our clubs, we are for freedom, we are for love, we are for kindness, and if that's not you, fuck the fuck off. If you don't love your fellow humans, if you don't love America, don't join my goddamn club. I will kick you the fuck straight out of here. Because I don't want your money. I don't want your membership. I don't want your attitude. I don't want your fucking diseased mind in my community. Because we rely on God and faith and love. And if that ain't you, God love you, but I say fuck you. I'm not Jesus. Jesus would probably hug you and wash your feet. I will kick you square in your fucking nuts. I am not Jesus, but
well, we're a private membership club.
Yeah.
And we love citizens who are who love our own country, which is not a hard barrier to climb, folks. I mean, this is not like we're
Yeah.
asking you to do something
You live here.
difficult. This is your home. This is where your children will grow up. This is where you live and breathe. This is the land that nourishes you and feeds you and has done so from your first day of your life. So look, guys, loving your country, being kind to one another, being generous with your wealth, with your kindness within your own community, these are good values. These are not difficult barriers to climb. So when Ben says, look, these are the people I want, well, that's most of us.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
most of us,
Oh, yeah.
right? We love our country. We believe in God. We love our families. We love our community. We want to do things right and good. We're not hoodlums, we're not gangsters here. We're just trying to lead a life which is given by God in a manner that's sovereign, that is respected. We respect others. They respect us. And that is the community that we are trying to build here through these clubs. That's
Yeah.
why I call these, beautiful shining beacons, lighthouses. These are lighthouses. They are guideposts. You can come here and you can come to safety. Safety that only comes from God's truth. Safety that comes from being a sovereign human being.
Amen. And it's that's why I launched these clubs. That's why I launched my show, was because I knew we would reach a point where the shit's going to hit the fan. And believe me, folks, the fan was just turned on and the shit's about to fly. And what we need to do is recognize that the only thing that actually gets us through all of this is helping each other. Because when you serve your fellow man, you are serving God. That's how this works. Right? There's a reason he put us all on here. There's a reason God created man and women and then said, go and reproduce. Bring on more of you, because we need each other. We are social creatures, but we have to remember that unless we lead with love and charity, and I know I just gave a horrible representation of that myself. I am also flawed, but you also have to be able to plant your feet firmly on the ground and say no. Because if you can't say no, like the country song says, you have to stand for something or you fall for anything.
Yep.
And that's the God's honest truth there.
Ben, our community, our Bitcoin Ben community, our members, we want you guys to know that we are not just about Bitcoin and what the price points are and what the technical charts are and how you should buy Bitcoin, not just the how you leverage and how you borrow money and how you mine. Those are all important things. But you guys need to know that if you have a problem, if you have a concern, come to the club. There are other members here. We are here. We are here as a community, as a family. And no matter what the issue is, perhaps one or the other person, we can connect you. We have so many amazing members here.
Yes.
They're working in so many different areas. This is truly a family.
Yeah.
And so if you're a member and you got an issue, you got a problem, it doesn't relate to Bitcoin, that's okay. You can come here. You can share that with some of the other folks who are here, and maybe we can help each other. So that is a part of why we have planted these physical locations. There's so many companies that, virtual, they're online. Oh, you can trade Bitcoin, you can buy Bitcoin. We like to see you face to face. We like to see the white of your eyes and say, listen, we're here. We're
Yep.
here through good and bad. And as Ben is saying, look, he was on a call this weekend, and he heard things that I'll let him speak to that. But there is a fair possibility that there will be more social unrests. There will be more concerns and worries for
Yes.
our children, going to school. Are they safe on the roads? Is there some building burning down because some leftist group decided to not just key a Tesla, but to start burning homes? This unrest is coming. And sometimes these type of revolutions happen before peace returns, before the good guys win. And as that continues to become a concern, come to the clubs. We can work on new ideas that you have. We can work on ideas of how to create that safety net and security for our own community, right at the local level, whether it's, storing some extra emergency water or helping out somebody who needs a hand.
Yeah.
Those are things that we want to participate in with your ideas. So use the club as a beacon of freedom.
Yeah, and it's we want we want to help create the new system. That's what we are doing at the clubs. That's why we bought a bank. All right. Trust me, my goal in life was never to own a bank. I never woke up in the morning and said, you know what, I'd like to be a fucking banker. All right. The reason that we recently purchased a bank, because we have to take it down from the inside out.
Like that Neo in Matrix, right?
Exactly.
You got to get inside to break it up.
Exactly. Because, folks, we do not want it to collapse. We want it taken down brick by brick.
Yes.
Because if it collapses, LA is going to be nothing compared to what happens if the system just collapses. And anyone asking for that, I don't think you realize what you're asking for. That is a shit show that you do not want to see. And I was on several calls over the last few days, and probably the most relevant to us right now is they're going to try and launch this shit out in LA all over the country. They're going to try it in Chicago. They're going to try it in Houston. There's even rumors they're going to try it up in St. Louis. Good fucking luck with that. Because the St. Louis boys are not going to allow that bullshit. And that said, I want to leave you guys with this. This is all necessary, folks. We have allowed evil to reach to the highest level of our government. And now we got to clean house on that government. It happens every generation. Now this is for all the marbles, folks, because as I've said in the past, AI is the new Encyclopedia Britannica. If you set the terms for reality, you run the world. And that's what the Encyclopedia Britannica was created to do. Now they're transitioning from that into AI. And there's a war on right now for who will run AI. Now, it is not a winner take all scenario. But it sure in the hell is if the left gets a hold of the systems of AI, AI is going to tell you George Washington was black. Not because he was, because it fits their agenda. Because and for those of you who have watched my history shows, the majority of the history that Americans think is history is lies. It's all lies because they control generational knowledge. Because think about it. What if all of a sudden they're slowly kind of transitioning, and before you know it, they're like, you know what? Martin Luther King was a bad guy. Wait, I thought he was good. No, he was a bad guy. And then they whittle away at reality through every generation. And then at the end, after all of us are dead and gone, all of a sudden, a future history book has Martin Luther King as a bad guy. And the youth of the time, they're just accepted as truth. Oh, it's in a book. It's in my history book. Well, that's what they've done. They have eroded the history of America and the world. Hell, they've even eroded the map. Folks, do you know that if you've ever seen a globe where Europe's huge and Africa looks smaller, fuck you. Africa is literally like 25% wider than Europe. But on the map, it shows Europe is just huge. Oh my God, look at all that. And then here's Africa kind of nudged down at the bottom, just kind of sitting there. That's not, the map lies to you, folks.
You know, this blockchain technology is going to cut both ways, because on blockchain, we can get immutable history. And at the conference, in fact, at the Bitcoin conference, I had the pleasure of, and I think you introduced me to those guys that are creating immutable history. So in other words, when governments and organizations adopt the blockchain as the keeper of knowledge, then you cannot change history once it's written in. At least it's there. You can still change the narrative, but someone who digs back into it will see that at that time it was different. So history has always been written by the victors.
Yeah.
And yet with blockchain technology, it allows us to actually create real history as it unfolds in an immutable way. The other thing that protects us in some ways against AI and the tyranny of a potential tyranny of AI is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because AI needs a mechanism to transfer value. Even two AIs transferring value to each other, they're not going to use the US dollar. They're going to use a digital currency. And if we can control Bitcoin, then an AI does not control it, then in some way, the way AI will communicate and spread value, because at the end, the AIs are going to they're going to have all the value.
Yeah.
They're going to make money.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep that money.
And this show, I don't want you guys walking away all like doom and gloom. This is not a doom and gloom episode. This is a, hey, keep your heads up, look around you, watch for bullshit. And if you see some bullshit, guys and gals, it is time to call out some bullshit. Because if they would bring these riots to a place like Nashville, it wouldn't last a day. Because you'd have some Tennessee boys just come out of the woodwork and squash that shit. They are trying, This is the last gasp of the progressive movement. They know they're done.
Yeah.
And they're reaching for AI. They think AI is their savior. They think AI is how they're going to live forever. Well, if you've ever read the Bible, go to the mountains all you want, motherfuckers, and try to hide. See what happens. Because it don't work out. Right? And it's but as for the clubs and what we are really trying to offer you guys is there's a way you can save your family and save your finances of your family, because guys, I don't know if you heard, but the Federal Reserve is probably going to drop the interest rates this Friday.
Europe already did. So
yeah,
they have to follow suit.
Fucking Europe's been fucking kicking theirs off a cliff every meeting. Yeah, we're going down 1 point.
Yeah,
we're going down 100 basis points.
Boom.
And if word on the street is that if Powell doesn't drop the interest rate, he's out.
He's going to be gone.
He will be gone.
And the court supported that.
Yep. And and Trump has already chosen his replacement. And from what I hear, it's going to be one hell of a shit show when he announces it.
Well, I can tell you, Ben, and Clara and I and the kids, when we pray, we always thank God for President Trump being in office right now and not the leftist, because that would have been we wouldn't have a real person in the White House, as we know from what the Biden files are coming out, the auto pen,
Yes.
what a disgrace to a nation, or a great nation we are. And yet here was a auto pen signing off on all of these things. So I don't know if all of that's going to be reversed or not, because when something is signed illegitimately, then it nullifies all of the implications of that illegitimacy. So we'll see where that goes. But we certainly pray for President Trump in the White House. We pray for, the freedom fighters, the freedom lovers of our country, who are fighting. And each one of us has to, and we pray for our clubs. We pray for you, Ben, because we are out on the front lines here right now. Okay, we are on the front lines. We are seeing the monetary and financial collapse of an old empire. They're clinging on to the dying embers of this old empire. And the Bitcoin and the new world is coming. It's inevitable. This train is on the tracks, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yep.
The amount of exahashes protecting this force field, this monetary system, is very powerful. They're trying to create the narratives of quantum computing is going to do this. Guess what? Quantum computing is going to take out every bank long before it can take out Bitcoin. So, all of these narratives are being created to keep Bitcoin down, because it is freedom. It stands for freedom. It provides freedom. And we need to continue to fight this. We need to continue to support. I don't care. Get a tiny little BitAxe miner and put it up there. Keep adding mining power to the exahashes, to the force field that Bitcoin is. Keep buying Bitcoin. Keep using it. There's a utility value to it, right? So as we, the people, keep on using this, no one can stop it.
Yep.
No one can stop it. They don't have the power, and no AI, nothing can stop this movement right now. And it is at that critical junction where they're resorting to, what they call 3D warfare, the three-dimensional warfare, the kinetic warfare.
Yep.
They're stooped to that level now. They can't win intellectually.
Yep.
All the Harvards are gone. They till now, the narrative was, we are the intellectual. These are the blue collar. Guess what? We have the intellectual horsepower. They've lost the battle intellectually. They have lost the battle socially, and now they have reverted to kinetic warfare, where you have to burn homes and burn buildings, and that's all you got left. It's the dying embers of an old empire.
Yep.
And so we got to stay focused on our goals. Make every citizen, every person financially secure through Bitcoin. And we're going to continue to spread that message, and we're going to continue to help you get Bitcoin, to keep Bitcoin, to use Bitcoin, and absolutely support this movement which is unstoppable. It will not stop, guys. You're on the right train. Stay on it.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. If you want to know what we have going on overall, we have now linked all of our clubs, everything we offer in one place. www.BitcoinBen.io. And it actually takes you right to we have a link for every club out there. You can join your local club. If you are looking for a loan to actually purchase up some Bitcoin, which is a damn good idea, Michael Saylor the shit out of that stuff. Or if you want to refinance your home and buy Bitcoin, that's up to you. We offer that service here, and we also offer no KYC for our members.
Bulk Bitcoin purchase.
Yeah, it's because, folks, we don't request freedom. We don't ask permission. Fuck you. It's our God-given right. No one has authority over you that you don't grant authority over you. So act like free people, because that's how they get you. They walk in with whatever, and they go, wow, here's our little shiny piece of something, and we assume authority over you. Fuck you. And that's how American, because and you can probably talk about this. My grandfather, if my grandfather was still alive, none of this shit would be going down. With his generation, shit. No.
No.
Grandpa would have already been like, fuck it, we're taking Washington.
And you know what? Exactly. And it starts by simply standing steady on your values.
Yeah.
When you see somebody say something which is obviously wrong, don't just say, well, I got to be politically correct. Call it out. Say for what it is. And as more and more of us start to do that, I remember I was in Las Vegas. When COVID hit, I was the only guy in the Smith store walking around without a mask. There were 3 guys running behind me. Sir, you need to wear this. And I would take those and toss them over. And then they said to me, well, we won't let you check out. I said, no problem. I kept throwing stuff into my cart, and I took a full cart with $600 worth of stuff. And they said, we won't take your cart. I said, great. I'll be back in 3 hours. I'll fill another cart, start putting these back. And I'll keep doing this till you start, so you got to do your part. And if you see something which is obviously against the God, obviously against what your values are, or against your children, speak up against it.
Yep.
Act against it. Bitcoin is going to give you the financial freedom to be truly free.
Yep. He who feeds you controls you. So if you feed yourself, you're good.
Absolutely.
All right. Everyone have a great day. I love you guys. Jay, thank you once again.
Thank you, Ben.
And I will be heading up to St. Louis. Unfortunately, dealing with the government, as always. And everyone have a great day. Love you guys. And I will see you guys. Actually, Jay, are you here tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm in Iowa for 12 hours.
Okay.
But what do you need?
I need you to shoot the show.
Yeah, I can do it tomorrow
morning.
I'll do that.
All right. Well, tomorrow you'll see Jay. Then I'll see you guys on Wednesday. All right. From St. Louis. Everyone have a great day. Love you guys. And remember, you're a bunch of bad motherfuckers. Act like bad motherfuckers. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
In a world where your data is constantly under attack, one company stands for your digital freedom. Introducing CALIX Solutions, your gateway to ultimate online privacy and secure cryptocurrency trading. Meet the Liberty laptop. With its modified OS and advanced tracking prevention, it's your shield against surveillance. Access restricted areas, use recommended security software, and browse with confidence. Your digital footprint? Virtually non-existent. For the crypto pros, we present the Crypto Laptop. Pre-configured on premium hardware for secure trading. Optimized for your favorite wallets and exchanges, it's the fortress your digital assets deserve. Both laptops come with expert individual training and support. You're never alone in your journey to digital empowerment. At CALIX Solutions, we put you in control. No more worrying about data breaches or compromised transactions. Ready to join the revolution? Visit calixsolutions.io and choose your perfect laptop today. Plus, become an affiliate and earn while sharing the power of digital freedom. CALIX Solutions. Unlock your digital freedom. Give us a call or text at 702-845-8276 or visit us directly at calixsolutions.io.